Hi, hello my dear children. How are you all? So, yesterday only we have seen physics. Again we are going to see the physics, right? So I think I know you will not get bored. Okay, anyway, it will be that practical lesson only. So in our last class, what we have seen? Force and pressure. So introduction about the force I said, right? Am I right? Shall I ask any question? What is meant by force? Okay, just wait. In this today's session, we are going to discuss about that types of force. Okay. So anyway, before that, I will ask that what is my force? A force is nothing but a push or pull of an object. Okay. So external disturbance of an object also called as force, right? Okay. Then when you are applying the force, okay, when you are applying the force in an object, its shape will change. I said if you are taking one balloon, just blow the balloon, what will happen? So after certain times it will change its shape, right? Because when you are giving any force to any object, so the object shape is going to change, okay, and the object size also going to change, and any other else, and its direction of movement also changing. For example, imagine if you are going to play the cricket that time. So if any person is hitting, so what will you do? It's the direction will change continuously. Okay, each and every point, its direction will change. So whenever you are applying the force to any object, there are three cases possible. So what is that? So its size, its shape, its direction, it will change. Okay. Okay, then force due to interact. So interact is nothing but contact with one object to another object. Okay. Okay. So today's session, today we are going to see that what is that types of force. Okay. In that types of force, we will take into only one case for this today's session. Okay. Okay. Generally, the forces can be classified into contact and non-contact force. Okay. Contact and non-contact force. What is meant by contact force? The contact force can be split into muscular force and friction. I will say the definition of contact force. Just wait. First, I will explain this chart. So, contact force can be split into two different types. So, one is muscular force and another one friction force. Before that, do you have force? Just see that. So, non-contact force. I am watching you, right? Okay. So that magnetic force, electrostatic force, gravitational force. There are three forces there, no? Okay. So today's session we are going to see that contact force only. Okay. So what is meant by contact force? So force that arises with the contact of two or more objects involved. At least two objects must be involved. Okay. See here. I am going to rub my hand. Okay. So I am going to rub my hand. So how many object is there? See here, this is one object, this is one object. So the two objects are going to contact mutually with each other, Okay, that means it is called as contact force. Okay. Okay, anyway, I am washing my hand here. Okay, anyway. So okay, listen. See here, can you look at that example? One person is riding a bicycle. Okay. I think most of you like bicycle. Okay, anyway, this person had contact with this object because he is transmitting his muscular force, his force on any one force, muscular force. So leave that, I will come to that muscular force. So here he is applying certain force to that chain, okay, or pedal. So that means this pedal force transmit into the chain. So automatically the way that the bicycle can move for, okay. Next, one person is taking that dumbbells, no? So that time he is using his muscle, okay, right? So he is applying certain force. That means his hand and his thumbs, both it will be mutually contact with each other. Okay. So examples of that contact force. So the first one, the types of force in that example. What are the main types in the contact force? And the examples in the upcoming slide I will explain. So that muscular force and frictional force. Muscular force, that means this is the muscular force, no. So frictional force, I will come. Okay. So here the muscular force. What is mean by muscular force? Okay. So muscular force is the type of force. It is one type of force or one kind of force wherein we use our physical strength. Physical strength means from the body. Okay, we are eating food. No, by that we are getting some energy. No, through that energy we are transmitting our energy into as a type of force. Okay, with contact. Okay, so our physical strength should be transmitted from one object to another object. Okay, we use our physical strength to change the state of motion of an object. Okay, for example, if I am going to take any object, I am going to apply my physical strength to that object. That time my hand and that object both are contact with each other. So it is a one kind of contact force. Okay, here we will see that some more information about that muscular force. So muscular force, it is nothing but from our muscles. Our body is made up of lot of muscles. No, from our muscles we are getting lot of energy. From that energy can be transmitted to different kinds of objects. So force resulting due to the action of muscles is called muscular force. Okay, so from that muscle some force is enhanced. So that force is called muscular force. See here. So while we are taking that dumbbells, okay, that time the muscle contraction, right? So whenever if you are doing this kind of means just touch here. So somewhere around the muscles are contracted. So just release that. So relax, right? So expanding while you are releasing the time the muscles are expanding. So while you are just move your hand this kind of that time somewhat you get bulged portion here because of that contraction of the muscles. Okay. And here one more picture representation muscular force. Here the two persons are here, they are pulling each other, right? So through that rope, if they are applying the equal magnitude of force means will it possible to fall any one of them? There is no way, because if they are applying the equal amount of force, the object will be in the neutral position, so both also will not fall. And here also, okay, have you seen in that if you are going to that city, urban area and all, in the mall, they are keeping this kind of games. Okay, if you take this axe kind of, and we have to give heavy force to that in that bottom, and how much force you are giving, that should be here measured, that should be shown here, this much force you applied. Okay, and this also same like dumbbells. Okay, and see here that example, man pushing a car, because from our muscle only we are pushing a car, and bullocks pulling a cart of load, because the bullocks having some muscular force, so that only it can pull a cart of load. And cycling, suppose if you are not getting energy, if you are not having energy, that time what can do? So here that time we cannot cycle, right? We cannot moving that cycling, right? So we have to eat food, right? So then weightlifting, have you seen that weightlifting person? So they have to be lot of what's called six packs and everything will be there, right? So because of they are eating lot of proteins and what's called proteins and even vitamins, everything. Okay, so weightlifting, that person also having, he also contact with that lifting, that what's called lifter, right? Weightlifter also having that lot of force, right? Okay, because that is also called as contact force. And one more force which is called as frictional force. So what is meant by frictional force? So have you seen that it is a force that acts on all moving objects by the surface which it is contact with. Okay, what is mean by that? See, just take your hand. Okay, the two hands. Okay, suppose, see here, if you are applied any grease or oil in your both hand. Okay, so in the village and all, they are playing one game, no? Okay, they have to what's called they have to go and by using what that time what they will apply. So grease and all applied in that post, right? So in that post they have to climb, and in that top of that they put some price, either money or anything. Okay, so that time if you are touch in that post, what will happen? So you cannot go, you cannot climb because of lack of frictional force. So frictional force is nothing but it's a kind of resisting force. Okay, so whenever any object is moving, so opposite to that movement, one force is acting, opposite side of the movement. For example, the object is moving in this direction, means opposite to that direction one force is always acting. That force is called as frictional force. It is nothing but like a resisting force. It is going to stop any object, okay, whenever the object is moving. Okay, so see here, it also possible when the two surfaces is contact with each other. So force always acts in the direction opposite to applied force. This force, okay, this frictional force always acts in the direction opposite to that applied force. So if you are applying in this direction, in this particular direction, so your frictional force always acting opposite to the direction. Sir, I cannot understand, sir. Can you give some more example? Okay, I will give an example. Take two rubber balls, okay, or one rubber ball. Okay, in the two surface, one is you are going to put the ball in this tiles. Okay, you know the tiles and are very smooth. Okay, almost it's like reflect with almost the lights, right? So if you are going to put the ball, in the tiles, okay, same way if you are going to put the ball in that sand, with same force you have to put. So in which case the ball can cover maximum number of distance, maximum distance? Can you guess? So of course it can covers only in the tiles, because in the tiles it will be very smooth. So once if you are released the ball with some force, some amount of force, the ball will not be stopped, right? After some distance covered only the ball will stop. But if you have taken in the case of sand, what will happen? In the sand, if you are throwing the ball, what will happen? Only it can cover certain distance, because of the sand has the rough particles, right? Small rough particle will be there. Due to that rough surface, the frictional force will be maximum. So your frictional force depends on the nature of the surface. If it is a very smooth surface like tiles, okay, or even any marble floor, the resistant force will be very less. The resistant force is nothing but frictional force. So when two objects are contact with each other, frictional force will be there. We cannot negligible that frictional force. Okay, so even though very small fraction, even though in that tiles or any what is called smooth surface also present, some amount of less amount of frictional force will be there. We cannot avoid 100% ideal frictionless surface. Okay, so it is ideal case only. In the practical case, friction is there. Even air also resisting the movement, air also giving that frictional force. So in the next slide we will discuss about frictional force in deeper manner. Okay, so until you have to wait for the next slide. So thank you.